Now, with support from the European Union, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center CISLAC, in collaboration with Center for Civilians in Conflict, during a one-day forum, briefed and mobilized support for the presidency on the strategy towards the policy on protection of civilians and civilian harm mitigation in armed conflicts in Nigeria. The multi-stakeholders deliberated on the draft national policy on protection of civilians and civilian harm mitigation in armed conflict. Kaftan Television correspondent Mavis Ako reports.
Critical stakeholders on Tuesday held a dialogue to mobilize support, interest, and sensitize cabinet members on the value of the draft national policy on protection of civilians and civilian harm mitigation in armed conflict for presidential assent. This, they say, is in a bid to improve the protection of civilians in armed conflict, which have been partly driven by acknowledgement of the physical and psychological harm to civilians and civilian objects from the presence and the result of their operations.
We believe that government must take necessary steps as enshrined in our constitution to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians. And one of the steps that is needed is to have this kind of policy that seek to address and ensure sustainable peace in the country. The absence of this legal framework is creating gaps in the protection and promotion of peace and security in the country. We cannot afford to continue to lose the life of Nigerians on a regular basis. You could see what is happening. Virtually no part of the country is safe and secured.
More actors say they recognize the value of minimizing harm from military, police, and other state and non-state security operations, which includes the impact of attacks on civilian infrastructure and conflict-related environmental damage and other reverberating effects of military operations.
The issue around working between communities and militaries has always been on the limelight. I would suggest that the Nigerian military continue to work through its civil military cooperation departments to continue to engage with civilians wherever they are deployed, because most times the challenge is that when military is deployed, communities are also drawing a line, and that interaction or that trust between communities and military, it's always in deficit. So I would think the military should also open up its doors more for communities, for civilians to continue to engage with them, so that issues and challenges that borders on civilian protection are discussed.
Last 5 years, the military has launched over 55 different operations across the country. And if you do not have host communities that trust in your judgment and the confidence that you are there for the purposes of protection, it then means that you might just continue to go on with those kind of operations endlessly. And that is why we have operations today that have nearly become permanent. Various theaters of operations have literally become permanent spot for military infrastructure, which shouldn't be. They should be ad hoc. But unfortunately, because there are no community buy-in into those processes, it has created the situations where they have kept on going just because of the focus on kinetic approach.
However, these approaches to conflict-related civilian harm remain underemployed during conflict, inhibiting effective harm prevention, mitigation, and response.
We want to see issues of our security being discussed in our films. We want to see education. It's not just the provocative. The narrative shouldn't always be provocative. We should begin to put stories and perspectives out there that reorientate the minds of the people. It shouldn't always, because if you go to on the social media, all you see is how bad the situation is, what is happening, but nobody is turning the story around to say that it shouldn't be this way. Those who are saying that are not as loud as those who are talking about the negative perspective. So we are hopeful that in the next few months that synergy should have been established.
One of the key things we've done with this policy is to look for already existing mechanisms in place. So this policy is not going to look for an extra source of funding. No, it's looking at harnessing existing mechanisms the government of Nigeria already has in place. We'll work with those existing mechanisms to ensure that these deliverables are no longer ad hoc, because some of what we noticed and why the policy became something that we pushed for is because we noticed that some of the responses to civilian harm and protection issues were ad hoc. But this policy aims to provide an institutional framework for a response to protection of civilian and civilian harm mitigation.
The multi-stakeholders stated that rising trend of coalition and pattern security arrangements in current conflict can contribute to the complexity of civilian harm mitigation, planning and implementation, as well as complicate lines of accountability. Hence, strategic approaches by the federal government that includes and involves all stakeholders, both states and non-state actors. From Abuja, Mavis Ako, Captain TV News.